Hi everyone, it's Hans here, the founder of Cappuccino, and welcome back for Series 3 of Flat Whites and Insights. We're here for some open, honest and vulnerable conversations held over a beautiful cup of coffee, and they're coming from my home, so I'll be providing the flat whites, and my guests, they'll be providing the insights. So grab a coffee for yourselves, take a moment, and I hope you enjoy this latest conversation. Thank you, take care, and enjoy.
Hello.
Hi, Roz. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
No, really well, thanks. Thanks for taking the time to come over to
No worries.
I say my studio, my kitchen. You've seen the bar, how it really happens now.
It's gorgeous. I love it.
No, thank you. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a conversation.
Sweet.
We've known each other for a while on Instagram. I think you were just saying it was during lockdown, which is when I set up the page and became aware of me. But we only met face to face for the first time at London Coffee Festival.
Yeah, this year.
This year. It feels a long time ago now. I can't believe that was this year. Mm-hmm. But for those who don't know who you are you okay to give a brief introduction to yourself?
Yeah, I'm Roz. I'm one of the coffee trainers at Climpson Sons in East London, but I am very slowly working my way to moving back home / Bristol. Mm-hmm. In the next couple of months, I'm leaving London finally, so now I'm just a general coffee professional existing somewhere in the southwest. That is me. I'm an AST, cat mum.
Yeah.
Just general goblin, really.
No, and I've followed you for a while as well, so it was amazing to meet. It would have been London Coffee Festival, of course. I think that's where so many people kind of come together. But we were just saying it's a busy event.
It's a very overwhelming event as well. Like, you want to see everybody, but again, everybody is there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just you can't go 5 minutes without seeing someone.
No, it's really bittersweet, really, because sometimes you just can't catch up with somebody. But in general, it's really nice to just bump into people.
Yeah, I think that's what's nice. I mean, it was towards the end of the day, I think, when I bumped into you, and you had a nice quiet corner, sat in a stool, and
I was hiding behind the BWT stand, just kind of waiting.
Waiting for it all to pass.
Yeah, exactly. Waiting to recharge just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was actually really nice bumping into you. I think I'd seen you briefly walking past, and I was like, oh no, come back. Need to meet you properly.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that you came over. So thank you.
Nice. No, yeah, it was lovely, and to meet a couple of your colleagues as well.
Yes, you met Tash, the other barista trainer at Climpson Sons. She is amazing, and get her on the podcast.
Yeah, working on it. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. We can do that. So yeah, making your way, you said, back to Bristol way, which is where, or that part of the world is where it sounds like. So did you grow up?
Yes, I grew up in Gloucester. Do you know of it?
Yeah.
It's for me. I feel like everybody feels like this about their hometown, but I feel like it's one of the saddest places on earth. Do you ever feel like that?
Shout out to anyone from Gloucester.
I'm sorry if anybody loves Gloucester, but I don't know, it just feels to me like a little bit sad.
Yeah. But it's maybe that element of where you grew up somewhere there, and I think especially if you're younger and it's not much freedom maybe to explore, and then you leave and there's all these exciting places that seem really exciting to go. And I mean, I grew up in High Wycombe, which is kind of Buckinghamshire, and probably similar. Whenever I go back to Wycombe, I feel a little bit like, it's like it's always a part of me. It's where I grew up. I mean, I'm big into my football, which is no surprise to anyone, and so I just still support the team, and that's pretty much when I go back for the football now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a part of me which I think, somewhere like Buckinghamshire is so lovely, but then I just think, Wycombe's just...
To be fair, it was really gorgeous to drive through. The drive here was really beautiful, so green. Yeah. It's so nice to see some green again.
Yeah, and I think particularly around here, so Didcot now where I'm based, like Oxfordshire is really nice. I love Oxfordshire.
Yeah, definitely.
It's nice that we're close enough to the city, but you only have to drive 5 minutes and you get to these like leafy villages and
so nice.
the green. Is that part of what you're part of what's driving you out of London.
Absolutely.
Returning to a bit of nature.
Absolutely. I feel like I haven't touched real grass in years. I've only lived in London for like 5 years, but it's really got it's got to a point about a year ago where I was like, I would like to be able to drive maybe 5 minutes and be on a big hill in some wind and not see a building for a while.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, I love London. Going in, visiting. Sometimes we work there. I mean, our head office of the FA is based at Wembley, of course. So sometimes we go in. But yeah, I don't think I'd like to live there. I know people have the London lifestyle, and it's all quite full on. So, like I say, I love visiting and maybe being there for a week or so. But I'm similar. I need my quiet time and my space.
Yeah, I think in some ways, like as an autistic person, I probably should not have moved there because it is so overwhelming and overstimulating and everything at once. And now I feel like finally it's reached that point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to that now.
It's time to,
It's time to listen to my body and my brain and leave before it gets, I don't know, even worse than overstimulating.
Yeah. I think it's so important though, isn't it? Like listening to, there's a reason our body feels these ways. I mean, I think we're both people who've experienced or experiencing maybe even burnout to a certain extent.
For sure.
I mean, I probably didn't listen to my body until I was 22, and really I didn't have a choice.
It's hard to listen to your body though.
It is.
Because you're so in your head and your body just feels like an extra thing. Yeah. It's just flopping about underneath your brain.
Yeah, and it's often only when you stop and you allow yourself to stop. I found that when I had eye burnout and I was going to just have one day off, which was not me at all. I was one of those, I was always proud of my 100% attendance record at school, and
they really drill it into you, don't they? From when you're like 4 years old, they're like, okay, you have to spend every waking minute being really productive.
And particularly the school I went to was a grammar school, so it was kind of like you had to pass an exam to get there. And if you didn't go to uni, that you had to go and have a meeting with the headmaster to explain why, because they were kind of quite big on how it looked for the school, I imagine, in terms of number of students that have gone on to XYZ.
So then they made the child feel bad
for making a choice of not going to
like they finally have some power to make a decision in their life, and then someone else is just like, actually no, that's the wrong decision.
So that was, I mean, at the time and I'm pleased I did, I went to uni, and so it didn't impact me, but it's only now looking back really that I think, wow, like there would have been some people who maybe ended up going because they felt they had to, or feeling really judged for just wanting to take a different path. And I think hopefully that's different now. I know there's a lot more apprentices now, and it's changing a little bit, but I think I was there at the time where I definitely felt like the path was the university. And
me too. They really do drill it into you. I think I remember because I went to a grammar school as well, during the whole GCSE thing, they kind of, my school in particular, made it seem like you had to work backwards in terms of your choices. So I had to know even what I wanted to do with my life at age 14.
And then say, what do I need to achieve that?
What degree do I need? What A-levels do I need? Therefore, what GCSEs can I pick? And I was 14 years old and I went into a spiral there.
And that's gonna cause anyone to start overthinking, and particularly at that age, it should be, what do I enjoy? What am I good at? What am I interested in? And maybe thinking about it as a career is a very different. So I can relate to that definitely, and that's why for me it was like my whole world came crushing in when I realised then I had to leave my PhD, because since the age of probably about 15, 16, that is the path I was on. And that was difficult, particularly telling friends, family, because I felt like I'd lied to them, because I felt like I'd been putting on this persona of this academic guy.
I can so relate to that.
But in the end I was lying to myself, not to get going deep, here we go, straight in. But in the end it was, and because now I don't keep up with the latest science news, and I'm not, there isn't a deep passion for it. It came from seeking validation and thinking this was my purpose, and
external put on you.
Put on me from the environments I was in. So
I get that. Totally. So the reason I moved to London in the first place was to continue my creative writing and do a master's in creative writing, because I had just graduated from University of South Wales with creative writing and teaching English to speakers of other languages. And I was like, I need another piece of paper that's really expensive to tell me that I can do this. And then around...
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. Why do I love that piece of paper so much? And around December time, in the first term and a half of that, I had my first proper full-time job in coffee in London. Absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
This was 2019. Dropped out of my master's. Had my full-time job at a lovely place called the Green Room in Holloway Road. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Immediately lost that. And lost the carpet's kind of taken out from under your feet, right? The ground is just completely gone.
Yeah.
In a way, I was kind of glad that I dropped out before they kind of went online only. Because I heard from a lot of friends that it wasn't a good time for them mentally. You need to be together, right?
That's such a big part of university, I think, is it's not just, obviously there's the qualification, or for me, I think even, obviously now I'm not using the qualification directly, but it's the friends I've made and the connections you've made and the memories and being in the city. So I went to uni in Bath, as we kind of mentioned before, hit record, and if I'd been doing that course just virtually from home, it's just not the same.
It's not as inspiring, is it?
No, and you think, you're still paying pretty much the same amount to do it.
Yeah. You need the energy around you.
Yeah, and I guess it's at that time maybe if there was a real passion for the course, then maybe of course, then you still it's the right thing in any way. But as you say, if maybe it was the right call, but I can imagine at the time thinking, okay, I've just dropped out of this, got a full-time job, and then that job's gone.
Yeah.
What was that moment like?
It was devastating. I think I was living alone in a little tiny studio flat in Stoke Newington, which, wild for my first place in London. It was it felt very bougie, very posh. There were lots of yummy mummies and well-off people, and I was just this little guy, just this little guy who lives above a pub.
Yeah.
And I remember being there maybe for a couple of weeks, and before my sister decided to come and rescue me, she drove all the way from Gloucester. She wasn't really supposed to. Don't tell the government.
It's fine. I don't think they're watching this. It's not that big yet, don't worry.
It's our FBI agent on the other side.
Yeah. You never know who's watching.
She came to pick me up because I was going a little bit stir crazy just by myself. And my own company's perfectly fine, but in a very tiny space with only one walk a day was not okay for your little brain.
I think it's so true, and I think I was quite fortunate, I guess, in a way that living with my partner, and we had the garden and we had walking space, but everyone's lockdown was very different depending on where you were. And I think of the people in the high-rise flats in London, and no wonder people going out for more than one walk a day, and you think, come on, are you just causing more damage by locking everyone in?
Exactly.
And then again, that's the whole conversation that is I
guess that's continuing until
the knock-on effect is continuing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think my partner's a teacher, so seeing it with students who then had to do lessons, so she was doing lessons from home.
Yeah.
All the students got emails and everything, so even now still she gets emails from students, which to me is bizarre. Thinking back when we were at school, I would never have emailed a teacher.
That is wild.
Can you imagine just all those questions Miss, when are we going to get our essay back? And it's
that's kind of adorable. I kind of
it's
love
sweet,
that.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. I have a friend who I went to that grammar school with. She's now a teacher for primary school children, and sometimes she'll post anonymous emails on her Instagram story, and it'll be the most adorable thing, miss you, or something like that for the weekend. And it's really, really sweet. I'm not sure if it's entirely appropriate, but it's adorable.
Yeah, and it's harmless.
It is harmless, yeah.
It's just funny when the fact that the idea of them having emails and emailing teachers, and I'm sure there's times when it's not the best. I think for
teachers.
But it's the whole world kind of changed. But so you'd had so that first full-time job, that was your first introduction to the world of coffee, was that?
No. So when I was 16, I got a job in a train station cafe. You know, like pumpkin and upper crust. And
Yep, I know that. Yeah.
So I worked for Pumpkin Cafe at Gloucester train station, and it was like 4 a.m. shift starts, and of course I was on it as a 16-year-old, because the first London train was at 12 minutes past 4. And I still remember that, deeply traumatised. And I didn't like coffee before. Whenever my mum tried to get me to taste it, I was like, ew, no, it smells like cardboard or something like that. I don't know, I can't remember now because I love it so much. And I had to learn to like it. So I had like a really large 5-shot latte pumped full of caramel so that I could be alive at 4 o'clock in the morning. And do my job. But I was there for like 2 years, and then from there I moved to Cardiff and then was in coffee. I actually got a job at a cat cafe in Cardiff, and we used a little Sage barista machine that time. And then I went into specialty from there in a place called Kin and Ilk.
I recognise the name. I think I've definitely seen
they have a good few excuse me. They have a good few coffee shops in Cardiff.
Yeah.
And that was a really, really wonderful time. Really intense, really, really busy. But kind of my first introduction into specialty coffee, it was my first cupping.
Yeah.
We worked with Clifton coffee roasters and they were very involved. I think Joe Shepherd, who's now like a good friend of mine, lived in Cardiff at the time, so he would like pop by quite often. He still works there now. He's now the AST there. And it was just quite nice working quite closely with them. And then from there I moved to London.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Relaying it back now.
Sometimes I'm just like,
it all started at that train station.
Yeah, and I was such a different person then. Like, so much around you changes as you grow up. And
I don't know if we spend enough time as people. I mean, I try to do more looking back. Like, I know people say, don't look back too much, live in the moment. But sometimes it is nice to sit and reflect. And
really is.
And especially when moments where I sometimes, the way I'm wired, sometimes I feel like I need to always be doing, always be producing something. But sometimes it's nice to sit back and go, actually, I've done a lot.
Yeah.
And to not be afraid to say that about myself and say, no, I'm proud of what I've done and I've done a lot. And like, the me who started an Instagram page in 2019, when I was signed off work, I had 6 months off work because of my mental health, off the back of the burnout and the PhD. And I was like, well, Oxford's got a really cool cafe scene. I was getting into coffee. At that point, I just like drinking it. Needed a bit of a purpose or something to keep me going, really. So we just started reviewing cafes, and never did I think it would be about mental health even. And it's just organically grown, and now Coffee with Jericho Coffee Traders, who we were talking about, they're amazing, the way they've kind of got on board, supporting local football teams, now a podcast. But if I'd have seen what it is now, back in 2019, I wouldn't have started it because I'd have been like, nah.
Terrified.
I would have been terrified. I'd be like, there's no way I could like sit and talk about how I'm feeling or just open up or like, some people even say, oh, just invite people over to your house and just having a conversation and... But I love it. It's really cool that everyone's got their own story. And
I also think it's amazing that like you made that for yourself as well. You did that for yourself, and it's kind of amazing how. So I'm in therapy, and have been for most of my life. And it's amazing how like sometimes you can feel like really, really helpless, but a lot of the time you actually do the things that bring you out of the kind of the pit sometimes. And I feel like coffee and like a couple of my jobs even have been like I did that, and
it's really amazing when you think about it.
Exactly.
Because you feel so, like you said about helpless, or you feel there's such a lack of control, but it's that controlling what you can control and just like spending more time doing things you enjoy as well. I try to like, again, I've had periods in therapy and this, and it's so much that I've learned. And what's amazing, I think, is sometimes something from a particular session or a particular time, and it's almost like you have that, you hear it and you learn it, but it's like you continually we're taken back to that, and
exactly.
it doesn't help you just once, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It comes back.
It comes back, and sometimes at times where you feel like you've moved on and you feel ready, but then you're like, actually, what was it that we said? And what did we say?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's, and something that, again, me when I was 21, 22, wouldn't have thought that was for me. I would definitely have had the barriers are up, and but from talking about kind of the school I was at, it gives an ideas about why, because we were told you're on this path and you don't want to show signs of weakness, and
exactly
you're meant to be this. So
especially if the environment you are in, like so young, is so competitive, it feels very weird that like in grammar school you are like pitted against every single one of your peers every day, and it's very weird. It's a weird transition out of that after you leave that environment. When
you see what the real world's like.
Yeah, exactly. The real world is so different, and there's so many things that, like, you know, sometimes some of my therapists like, imagine yourself as the child that you were at like 12 or something. Like, how would you behave to that person back then? And it's very different to what those like teachers and people in power would have. Yeah.
Or what would you pass on, or what would you advise them?
Exactly.
It's so different, and it's so interesting, and that's that you know, you go from, I mean, someone that's not out yet, but someone who's come on, and their episode's coming out shortly, he's a coach to aspiring lawyers.
Oh my
and
goodness.
He kind of went through it, and he's from Wigan, so he's from north, and he said like he's not from the most well off kind of background, and he's Asian, and he said that sometimes it's like you look and you think that, is this for me? And he's had those challenges and those other barriers, and he's kind of got his training contract, and now he wants to kind of coach people who are aspiring to become it, because he says, especially in that field, most people are going to be high achievers at school. If you're clearly pretty switched on, you're pretty intelligent, and they go from always being told you're great, get this degree, and then they're in this application process, and suddenly you're being told you're not good enough, or.
Well, yeah, because you're up against other people who are great.
Yeah, exactly. You're all the big fish from the small ponds being thrown in this, and that's the thing. School doesn't sometimes teach you that. They just teach you if you work hard, you're going to get what you want. And I think I now sometimes there's so much more to it than that. And also, you can't control who you're going up against.
For sure. Like
I went for a role like recently, internal role, and didn't get the job, but I'd like had, and I know me of 10 years ago would have fuming, like beat myself up, but the person who's now come in like just seems like she's really good at what she does, so I'm like, well, you know, if she hadn't have applied, maybe I'd have got it, but it's a new connection, it's, you learn from it, you get the feedback, but it's just that, you know, understanding that is,
and that person might surprise you with what they do as well.
Exactly.
Like so we've just filled my position at Climpson's.
Yeah.
So the guy, a lovely guy called Pete, is coming and starting, and I'm really excited to see like how he trains, what I can learn from him before I leave. Like I feel like every trainer or like coffee professional or coffee person that I come into contact with, I want to pick their brains and like just suck stuff out for me, you know. I want to suck information out of them.
Just because you've maybe been doing it longer than someone doesn't mean there's not something you can learn from them.
Exactly. I learn so much from people every day at work who come in and they've never touched a coffee machine before, but there's other things that they have to teach. There's gaps in my brain, obviously. There's gaps in my knowledge for many other things. I was joking the other day that I've got no other skills on my CV apart from coffee. So I need people to like fill in those gaps. I need those people, those connections kind of around me. But there are so many people out there that have so much to offer, and they might not even know it either.
Yeah. And I would say yourself in that as well. So obviously, I know you're saying you're kind of joking that with saying, there's no other skills other than coffee, but it's not every skill has a certificate. And we were going back to at school, we get caught up by the certificate, and at school you're like, unless you've got a qualification in it, you don't have that skill, and that's not really true in reality.
You've caught me,
You know what I mean?
You've got me there.
like I don't have a, you know, I think one of my strengths is relationships and people. Mm-hmm. I'm a people person, but I don't have a degree in that. I don't have it just comes from experience and, you know, I need to get a certificate that says podcaster. Maybe once I get a certain amount of views or something, maybe I'll get.
What about just influencer on
Oh
Yard?
no, let's not go back to London Coffee Festival.
Let's do that.
Maybe just walk around with that
Yeah.
in my wallet, just
exactly.
business card, just in case you know. Yeah.
Just so you know, guys, I'm an influencer.
Yeah, there you go. You know, sometimes you've got to tell people. But yeah, like I say, it's that I think we, particularly maybe our generation, there was a lot of this, you know, if you need a certificate to show you that you've got X, Y, Z. But then it's difficult because it's not always easy to walk around saying, I'm great at this, I'm good at this.
Yeah.
And there needs to be evidence. So but the evidence is probably through people's word of mouth is a big one.
Yeah.
Particularly like people you've trained or there'll be reviews and things like that. So
yeah. Exactly. It's so hard for anybody to kind of go around being like, oh, I'm good at this actually, so so you need to hire me, or you need to acknowledge that I'm good at this. And I think like so much of the time, like imposter syndrome comes into that as well. There are so many other people who are just as good, if not better, or have other strengths and
but then you define better.
I know. Stop it.
Sorry, I'm just picking it.
You sound like my therapist.
You're just like, I came for a nice chat and a coffee.
I don't need to be attacked like this.
But you know, to define better, like more
true.
Years and doing it for more years doesn't mean you're better. It means you're different, but you got more experience. But experience doesn't always mean better. But
yeah, but there's always that little voice.
But I know what you mean.
There, isn't there? There's always that.
I think that every time I sit to record a podcast or put one out or something, I think, are people listen? Like, why would anyone want to listen to just little old me?
Yeah.
But you know, I enjoy the conversations. You know what I mean? Even if this wasn't to be put out there, or just for us to that connection and having a nice chat over coffee, like you know.
Every time I listen to one of your podcasts, I listen on Spotify, so I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I've made a connection with that person that you're
Amazing.
talking to as well, even though I haven't met them. I'm just like, that's a very cool person.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and that's nice, and that's what it's about, is people being able to, just share their story and
for sure, yeah.
And there's a few people from the coffee industry, so you know, maybe one day we'll get everyone in a room and it'll be like
everyone.
There needs to be an episode without me. Everyone talking about oh yeah, he comes across as all friendly. As soon as we turn the camera off, he was.
He's terrible.
Yeah,
he talks about how he's an influencer all the time.
He showed me his lanyard.
Do you still have it?
No, I don't still have it, no. But do you know barista Chloe?
Yes.
Yeah, so she was. I think she was the one who pointed it out on the day, and then she found that really funny, and then that was the same day I ended up on stage, of course, because I was an influencer.
You said this. What was
pouring against Heidi.
Yes.
When it was like the latte art competition, which was cool. That was like the first time I'd done anything like that, and
I'd be shaking.
So it helped with the Rosetta.
Yeah.
I was shaking. I was like, I've never done such a fine pour. But it was fun, and it was something different, and like through that space, there's loads of cool people in the coffee industry, and again, I feel like I've been welcomed because I've got a passion for it, but I've just done it at home. I've never worked in coffee, not once, and probably don't know if I ever will. Like maybe when I'm older, I can see myself retiring with an old converted horse box or van or something.
I can
going to different football grounds, and I'd be going to different football grounds, like non-league grounds, and I can see myself maybe doing that. But
I can absolutely imagine you in a little coffee truck going around.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
I'd love that. Similar to, is it Jazz has a van?
Yes.
Because she's been on as well. So I saw the van. I think she's doing a lot of work converting it now. I mean, I couldn't do that. Fair play to her.
It's a lot of work.
Set.
It looks like a lot of work. I think in general, like converting a vehicle.
Yeah, and I'm not a DIY person. I mean, my partner will tell you that I'm not practical at all.
Yeah.
I'm
not either. I tried to just put together a set of shelves that go in your cupboards from IKEA. Mm-hmm. Did I have any clue? Absolutely not. I just had to put 4 screws into the holes. Could not do that at all. Was very embarrassed. And now I've shared my deepest shame.
Yeah, there you go. So any potential employers watching this, let's hope there's no
zero hand-eye coordination.
Because that's not important for coffee, right?
No, absolutely not. You don't need to do that for latte art. Absolutely not.
And the art skate is just on the floor next to the cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, it's different people, different skills. That's what.
different skills. Some people don't have a skill.
But no, it's just cool, like the people I've met through starting this page, and now obviously moved more into the football side and sponsoring local clubs, but seeing a team have like the kind of cappuccino mental health on their shirts, and I think when I grew up, never saw men's football teams talking about mental health. So just slowly just getting that conversation out there, but making sure it's in things that I genuinely love and have a passion for, so it doesn't feel like work, because doing it on top of working full time is a lot, and I talk about self-care. Yeah. And sometimes it's a reminder to myself more than anyone else, because I'm very busy. I'm not the best at stopping.
I totally feel you there. I think it's very important to, kind of like put that out in your chosen communities as well, because then they echo it back. Yeah. And they remind you again. And I feel like that in my little kind of like corner of coffee in East London. Like I found a very kind little kind of nook. Yeah. Sort of like coffee quiz, and we're all kind of like, have you had water today? Have you sat down in the last 5 hours? And I just think it's just another kind of form of like chosen family, isn't it? Yeah. Just looking after each other. I think that's just so important, especially in hospitality, where it's kind of brutal.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, people forget that it's a human.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just a little robot sometimes. It's like when you're having a bad day, that really impacts how you are at work. That's why I'm not a barista full time anymore. I can't. Yeah. I can't. No, I think I couldn't. I think I'd struggle with the closest I come is sometimes with what we do in work, and we either go out and support volunteers getting like DBS checks and just making sure football's safe and an enjoyable environment, or we're working our cup finals, which I love football, so it's great to be there, and there's much worse places than I know, but sometimes if I just, I'm a bit overwhelmed, a bit burnt out, the last thing I want to do is be like on the turnstile welcoming everyone in, and your energy as they hit the stadium, you impact their evening. If they first turn up and there's someone from the local county FA who's like a bit of a miserable old, like being miserable, it's going to impact their perception. So you've got to be there like, how are you doing, buzzing, even if really on the inside I'm like just not feeling it that day, and that's hard. Sometimes there's no energy like in you to be on, to be like performing either. I think it's like so much of it is perform. I mean, from my perspective anyway, I'm quite a highly masking autistic person, so like so much of it historically for me has been like performing, or like putting on a mask, or like someone different, and then as soon as the cafe's closed, I'm like, I need to be in a dark room in silence. Just that time, just like recharge, as we said, and just exactly. I think it's and it's something we mentioned kind of before hitting record as well, about what's next for yourself. I think. I guess maybe there isn't. You don't know the answer yet. I don't really know. I think it's really important that I have a break. Definitely. I don't think I've had like a break in employment since the pandemic. And I only had a break then for like 2 months, and then I begged someone to hire me, and they did. Yeah. So I think so much has changed and gone on since then. I think it's time to have a break if I can, as long as I can, and then go back in. I want to, I really care about the coffee community and the industry, and I don't want to half-ass it. Yeah, because that's I know what you mean. Inevitably what's going to happen if I'm burnt out. Yeah, you won't have that. You won't be able to fully commit and fully bring your full self to whatever you go into. I don't want to do that. No. It's not. I guess for some people, it's a job's a job, but also, I don't know, the boundaries are so blurred for me. Yeah, I can be the same. Yeah. I hear a lot about emotionally detaching from your job, and I'm like, that's just not for me. That's just not the way I'm wired. I mean, if I'm doing something, I want it to be done to the best of my ability, and that's a blessing sometimes, because you care and people can see you care, and it does improve, I think, the quality of what you do. But at the same time, on a personal level, sometimes it's just I can care too much. I can it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? But I don't think I would want to have it any other way. I don't think I'd want to just sit in an office 9 to 5 doing, I don't know, typing away on my little keyboard,
something that's not a passion, and something you can just close off and...
Yeah, and I think that's, as I'm saying that now, like, it's so incredibly privileged that I'm in a position where I have a job that I love and is part of my passion and my hobby. That's such a privileged position to be in, and there's so many people out there that don't have that opportunity. And sometimes I'm like, oh, am I burnt out? Am I just...
Do you feel sometimes you almost guilt yourself?
Guilty,
yeah,
exactly.
Because being like, so many people would love to work in something they love. And I mean, I've said it, I think, on a few episodes before, and one of my least favourite quotes is, do what you love and you won't have to work a day in your life. I hate that quote.
It's not true.
It's not true, because even if you love what you're doing, you still need a break from it.
Absolutely.
And it's harder sometimes to take those breaks when you love what you do, because I think I had David Rickenback on? David is Coffee, who I actually met at a Bristol Coffee Festival. Oh. He was giving a presentation about inclusion and kind of coffee. Yeah. He's been on the podcast as well, and he said that that's when he knows he's kind of burning out, as if there's things that he knows he loves, and he starts thinking, can I do it? Do I want to do it? Because you know that if you were full of energy, you would say yes. Yeah. But it's a privileged position to be in, to have so many opportunities. But
absolutely,
he's lovely. I love David.
He's so lovely. Climpson Sons had a summer party for a bunch of our customers on Wednesday night, actually, and he was there, and he's just started his new role at Victoria Arduino, and it's just nice to see him kind of, like, he's really kind of thriving. Yeah. You know, like,
I know what you mean. He's kind of
bouncy.
He's got that bounce, that new energy bounce.
And I was there like, I want that bounce.
You want that bounce, yeah. But you need to have a bit of a rest before you bounce. You don't have to just bounce.
Yeah, the floor is very much not a trampoline yet.
Set those foundations first, and then you can. But no, or even I don't know if you know James, like Farm Boy Brews.
Yes.
He was one of the first people I met on Instagram, I guess. Yeah. Because I saw he was doing coffee and mental health, and so for me I was like, oh, okay, there's other people kind of in this space. Yeah. And had him on the podcast. I know he's been through quite a lot. He's had his own challenges. He speaks about them on the episode, and almost when we had the episode, it was quite you could feel it was not necessarily comfortable. Yeah. Like, it was great to have the conversation, and again, it is sometimes with the topics we dive into, but then recently I think Red Bank Coffee put these videos of him, like, he's breaking the internet I love it. Online, just being him, and I see that and I I'm buzzing for him. It's genuinely so happy to see someone in a space where you can tell that
he's like beaming.
He's literally glowing.
Yeah, it's so lovely to see.
And I love it. Yeah. I love it. And
I don't think I've actually met him, but I have followed him on Instagram for the very same reason for a very, very long time. And then kind of followed when he got his job at Red Bank, and then those videos came out, and I was like, yes.
It's just really nice, and I think that's that. The fact that he's kind of wanted to put that out and stuff as well. Just I know that he seems to be loving it, and another great person. I mean, I feel like we could just sit here forever, but obviously I don't want to just talk about other people. We're here to talk about yourself.
I'm more than happy to talk about other people.
But it's nice though, just reflecting on, and you mentioned that group you found in kind of London, and checking in on each other, and it's whether there's people it's more regular, or whether it's just knowing there is this community of people that are kind of have a similar passion, and it's like coffee's what maybe brought people together, but it's the actual people that I think you stay connected to, because there's loads of people who are doing coffee that I'm not connected to, because obviously I'm not saying, like, there's people in any walk of life. I mean, I work in football, there's a lot of people in football that maybe don't have the same values as myself, shall we say. Sure. It's gets a bad rep sometimes, and understandably, because you see some of the way fans behave, or the language, and unfortunately people see football as an excuse, I think.
I definitely see that. I think there's also, in different communities and different industries, there's always kind of like a bit of a shadowy side. I think with football, just because it is such a huge sport in the UK, it's so loud it's
powerful, is it? But it's powerful. So if something happens in football, it transcends football, really.
Yeah, I get an update from BBC every single time something happens. I'm like, I would like to know what the weather is, actually.
Yeah, well, I saw recently they put, was it one of the news things, it said about Molly May and Tommy Fury, and it said breaking news, and then one of the police forces quote tweeted it and was like, we want to assure families that we're doing our best at this time. And I thought that was, to see that side and that humour, because I mean, obviously, sad times for Molly and Tommy or whatever, but I'm not sure it requires a breaking news the same, considering the world at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
If I see a breaking news go up, I mean, for me, the football one's perfectly fine. I like that. But yeah, it is powerful. But I think that's what, and even in football though, this is where the clubs I've gone into, like I volunteer at a few clubs, sponsor a few clubs. It's because I don't just pick a club and go for it. Like I also care about. I know that it represents your brand values, and my values if I'm associated with a club. So there's a lot of good people in football, like there is in any walk of life. But sometimes it's the others who are a bit louder, and the others so that sometimes the good people get out. Yeah, for sure. Out shouted a little bit, but yeah. So
I feel like depending on where you are as well, different people are louder. Like in my kind of circle, I guess, I'm in very much like an East London coffee queer activist kind of area of coffee.
Okay.
Not that I'm much of an activist. I would love to go to protests and stuff, but I'm more like one of those people that shares things on Instagram. Because I can't physically go and protest.
When you did leave your placard just in the hallway as you came in.
Oh yeah, my placard, my walking stick.
Just ready to cause mayhem.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. Oh my goodness. And like different people in like that particular community are really loud to me, but
it depends on your circle of who you follow.
Exactly, yeah. And I think you get to a point sometimes, I'm just thinking out loud now, where you kind of end up weeding out the voices you don't want to hear, which I guess is it's an interesting thing to think about, because you do need to hear different opinions. It's an interesting concept,
because I think to Brexit vote, should we say, for example, and we're covering all sorts in this episode. But where I was at uni at the time, and just through my circles and people I follow and stuff, naively I was like pretty confident that the result was going to remain. But then there's a lot of people who you don't interact with, and that's why, like you say, it's for our own well-being and peace of mind. Like, you can unfollow people, but it's like I always do try to read the news, and I do try to stay read up, because as much as sometimes it's not always pleasant reading, I just want to kind of keep myself. I don't want to stay in my own bubble.
The vacuum chamber isn't always the safest place to be.
Exactly, because sometimes you just got to be aware of kind of the national picture and the situation. So I see that it's it's the news. It is I try to stay. I try to stay, not all the time, and I won't like then dive into comments on posts and things like that. But just the top level, it's good to stay updated. So
definitely to keep aware of everything. I think there's a lot of really useful Instagram accounts actually that I follow, like UK Politics.
They also do like the good summary, like almost one-page summaries.
Yeah,
and stuff,
exactly, and like that's really, really helpful and digestible. For someone who doesn't, I don't read long articles because I can barely read. Like something like that is really accessible.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it's
accessible, but also like neutral and finding something that's not trying to push a certain message. But But it's like I say, the world is mad crazy at the moment. So it is important having those circles and those support systems and that network. But
definitely. I think it's also like important to kind of know that you can't show up for those issues that you really care about in the world without having shown up for yourself first. Like that's something that I've been struggling with the last like few months with everything going on, especially with like the recent riots and stuff like that. It's kind of your duty to show up in some way. My thoughts just disappeared. It's just disappeared. Do you ever get that?
Yeah. No, I do get it. Sometimes it just just goes. But if it comes back in the next,
it'll come back at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Or anyway, you'll be driving back, and he'll be like, no.
Yeah. My doctor. I think I had a consultation with a doctor very recently about, like, I've got chronic fatigue syndrome as well. Just about like how that's going. Not well, by the way.
Quick update. That's your quick update. Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
But I like stopped. My train of thought just stopped happening halfway through a sentence. And my doctor looked at me and was like, maybe we should get you diagnosed with ADHD. Like, oh, another one.
Add to the collection.
Sick, thanks.
At least it's more certificates. That's what.
Stop, yes. Give me a list of diagnoses.
Have them framed.
We'll get the trifecta.
But no, it's...
Yeah, one day that thought will come back. But yeah, like, I think in terms of... I think my brain was going down a thought about self-care.
Yeah, I think it's said about showing up for yourself before showing up for others. And it's because, I guess, these days where we are so connected, it can be so easy to be overstimulated and pulled into these things. But it's about, I guess, what you can control and what's in your circle and looking after those closest to you and yourself as well. But no, so I think the question I finish with, which I've asked everyone, and that is, what does happiness mean to you? So
oh my goodness, okay, happiness. I think throughout your life it changes, for sure. Right now, happiness for me is my little tiny community. You know, my loved ones. And I think it's only going to grow when I leave London as well, you know. But I think it evolves over time.
Yeah.
Like, happiness for me used to be working the morning shift behind the bar. That is no longer my happy.
Yeah. It change, like you say, it does change, and I think that's important to acknowledge as well and recognise. And I love what you say about the community growing, because those that are important to you, and that's not going to leave. Like, you'll leave London, but you'll still have that
like,
group. And that's...
even when I left, like, Cardiff, like, I have found family in Cardiff, and we've never kind of lost touch. Like, I'm not great at staying in touch with people, but when we do kind of reconnect, it's like no time has passed at all, you know.
That's when you know they're real. That's your real kind of circle. That's your real friendship group. Yeah.
Which, you know, makes me feel really nice. Makes me feel really, really good. Yeah, I think that's happiness for me right now. Yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, for myself it is, I think happiness for me is peace of mind. I think I know I said earlier about looking and reflecting back and this, but just really trying to enjoy those moments that I have now. I think, again, a bit personal, but like, so when I was 22, at that age when everything was really kind of in a dark place for me, like, there were times I didn't want a beer anymore. And so sometimes when find myself getting a bit upset, I just remember, you know, where I was then, how much I've done since then. I'm now turning 30 next week. So, like, just remembering and appreciating really what I have, and like, not being scared to try new things, and not being scared to actually, like, be proud of who I am and what I put out there.
For sure.
So that, I guess pride, because I spent a lot of time when I was younger trying to seek validation from wherever I could find it. So knowing in myself that I'm good at what I do and I add value.
Exactly.
So I think that's my happiness, knowing that, like, I kind of am the one who can decide if I add value or not.
For sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So that's, and kind of living that and really believing it. Because it's one thing to say it, and I've had to, and like, but really believing it and being like, no, actually, I think it's like, what I'm doing is hopefully making a difference. So that's happiness.
It's made a difference to me. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I love what you said about when you listen to our episodes about kind of feeling like you're connected with them, and I really hope, and I'm sure people will feel the same about this one as well.
Maybe.
And no, it's been, like, amazing. No, really lovely to have a chat, and like I say, all the best for whatever happens down in
Thank you.
Bristol, whatever happens next. But hopefully there's a bit of a pause before we
hopefully, and then I can
see
get
too much.
back on the coffee horse.
Yeah, and then in a few months we'll be seeing that bounce.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
You'll be rivaling James on videos of coffees, and maybe in one of them that thought will come back.
Yeah, maybe.
Just
it will literally
months
be
down the line.
months.
I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah, God, yeah. You joke about it, but that's exactly what's going to happen.
You'll be like, I was on that podcast. No, it's
yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was so lovely to have a nice chat for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's nice to. That's what I love the podcast more than I think you did mention before we got about why start the podcast, and I think this is basically it, because I mean, as much as there's a great community online, you have these short, sharp interactions, and you don't really get a chance to connect with someone, and I feel like kind of done that today. So there we go. Done. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And I'll see you at Bristol Coffee Festival, if not before.
See you definitely at Bristol Coffee Festival.
Which actually isn't that far away now. I'm thinking by the time this comes out, this will come out before Bristol Coffee Festival.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
If you're listening to this, Bristol Coffee Festival.
Yeah, go. come say hi. Come say hi. We're both influencers now.
Yeah. Look out for our lanyards. I'll get some printed.
Yeah, please. Cappuccino influencer.
Yeah. Cappuccino and cappuccino guest. No, I'm joking.
No, I actually would love that.
Big. What I went on the podcast and all I got was this lousy lanyard. No.
I would really enjoy that. That's tickled me.
Amazing. No. Thanks, Roz. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, and I really hope you gained something from that conversation, because I know I certainly did. It would mean a lot if you can like or subscribe on whatever platform you may be watching or listening on, and please do share this podcast with any friends or family or anyone you know that you think might benefit from having a listen. Also, if you can head over to Instagram and give Cappuccino a follow, that's where you'll find the latest updates as we look to raise awareness of mental health through my passions for football and coffee. And I'm always open to people getting in touch if you want to have a conversation, collaborate, or even come on the podcast yourself. The support means a lot, and I'm very grateful. Thanks so much again, and I hope to see you soon.